Hello and welcome to another Lawn Fawn video. Today we are introducing our brand new die set, Fancy Folded Banners, and I love this set so much. So let's go ahead and check it out. There are 3 styles of banners in this set, and you can see that they all have these little score lines that the die creates for you. And all you need to do is fold along those lines. I'm going to fold back and then fold front, creating a Z shape. And I'll repeat the same thing on the other side. So fold back and fold front. And this is what makes it a really cool 3-dimensional die cut banner. You can have it either that way or the other way. So you have 2 styles depending on if you flip it one way or the other. The smaller banner die works in the same way. So we're going to fold it back and then forward, creating 2 Z's on either side. And this banner can also go in 2 different directions for 2 different looks. Now this one's my favorite banner. It's this long banner. So you're going to fold along those score lines and it's going to create this really cool Z shape. But my favorite part about this is that you can die cut another one and actually layer them to create a big banner. You could actually even keep doing this and create an even longer banner if you wanted. And so I love that there's 2 looks with 1 die, which is so cool. And then here's a look at all 3 of the dies all put together. Here's the double banner there on that side. And then we've got the 2 banners that can be flipped one way or the other, depending on what works better for your project. I'm going to create a simple card with these banners using a bunch of my inks and the new Fab Flower stamp set. So I'm going to stamp out a bunch of these flowers. I'm going to stamp this one in guava ink, and then this one in sunflower ink. I'm going to stamp a smaller flower. And then I'm also going to stamp all the details in the flowers. So here you're going to see I'm getting right over it. You're going to see my head in the way to make sure I line it up perfectly. And I'm stamping with carrot ink on top of that sunflower and then lobster ink on top of the guava. I'm also going to stamp out a bunch of greenery. So I'm stamping in jalapeno ink and then also in freshly cut grass ink. I'm going to stamp a bunch of these different ones and then stamp in celery stick for the leaves. Once I've got all of those leaves in both sizes stamped, I'm going to stamp the detail in noble fir. And you'll see that I stamped out way more than what I'm going to need for this card, but once I have my inks out, I like to stamp out a bunch because then I can use them for more cards later. Next, I'm going to use the coordinating dies. I'll line them up with my stamped images, hold them in place with some low tack tape. I'll run them through my die cut machine, and then I'm going to be able to pop those little stamped images right out of those dies, and I just love how clean and gorgeous it looks straight out of that die. Now I've got all of my flowers ready for this card, and next I'm going to work on my fancy folded banners. So I am going to die cut my long fancy folded banner from some peacock cardstock, and I'm going to die cut 2 of them because I'm going to do that cool double fold thing. Now before I start folding these, I want to stamp my sentiment. It's much easier to stamp on these banners when they're flat, and then you can do all your folding after. I'm using my anti-static powder tool here to go all the way across my cardstock so that after I stamp with my sticky ink there, my Versamark ink, when I put the embossing powder, it's only going to stick to that sticky ink. So I'm going to stamp wishing you a, and then happy birthday from the Happy 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 set, which fits perfectly on these banners. And then I'm going to heat up that embossing powder so I have a nice bright shiny white sentiment. Now that all my stamping's done, I can finally fold these banners. I'm going to fold right along those score lines that the die created for me. And I love once you start folding this because you see the banner finally start to form. And so I'll form the second one in the same exact way, folding both of those score lines. And then I'm going to layer the 2 to create this double banner. So all I need to do is add a bunch of adhesive there to the back of that one tab of the banner. I'll fold that back over and fit it right inside and kind of just line them up like a little sandwich and stick them together, and now I have a double folded banner. Next, I'm going to die cut some watercolor wishes paper with a stitched rectangle and also trim down some guava cardstock. I'll create a card base for that and then layer that guava cardstock right on top and then layer the stitched rectangle on top of that. Then next, I'm going to take my banner and I'm actually going to put some little tiny foam squares in all of those folds. And this is going to help keep it nice and kind of bouncy on the card. It's really going to give it some really great dimension. So I'm layering all of those pieces in there, and then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of the whole thing, and I can layer that onto my card. And because I have those foam squares in there, you can see how nice and popped out it looks. So now I'm going to take my Fab Flowers images and just layer them on top and behind the banner. And by doing that, it really gives it a cool look that some of the flowers are on top, some are behind. I've put some with foam adhesive and some with just tape runner so that there's a lot of dimension on the card. I'm going to add some adhesive to the back of my pink flower and then layer all of my pieces from there this time. So I'm going to take that nice little leaf there and kind of layer things back and forth, put that little sunflower flower on top, layer some more leaves and that nice little sprig there. And then I'm going to put some foam tape on it and layer that whole thing on. And that's a really nice and easy way to layer your flowers. And you can see it's a nice and simple card, easy to recreate, but it packs a lot of punch. Next, I wanted to show you some samples from our design team. I love this card coming up by Elise, and I love how she cut the fancy folded banner from some watercolor wishes paper. Next up, we have a card by Elena, and that banner looks so cool with the blue colored edges. I love this card by Nicole and how she cut the banner from vellum. That is so elegant and beautiful. This card by Nicole is so cute. It's just perfect in the sky. I love how Letitia cut it from some nice bright green cardstock. It just looks amazing with those pink flowers. And then here's a card that I made that's a slider card with that awesome sentiment at the bottom with the fancy folded banner. So I cannot wait to see how you guys use these dies, so make sure to share them with us. Thank you so much for watching and have an absolutely amazing day. Bye!